Namaste and welcome, beloved mighty companions. Make sure we're level here. To the circle of holy light, infinite. A beautiful opportunity to experience love as it is, holy, whole, and complete. That's always available. So we start with the light of infinite being, the holy instant, the holiest of holies, the holy instant. Our divine nature is holy. Holiness being infinite. We can look as the light of divine being. Start with the power of God. Like, why would we want to start anywhere else other than with true nature, which is infinite, unchanging, timeless? In the light of divine being and honesty of God, does the light of infinite being know any limitation? In our direct experience, as we look as light beings, can we find that somewhere, a limit in infinite light of being? Jesus says, rest here. Rest here. Rest as the one who knows, not of a knowledge of a world, just knowing. Silence, stillness, love. In the play of consciousness, love has become so unfamiliar. You can ask Jesus. So I've been playing in consciousness so long that supreme happiness just seems completely elusive. And then through the play, keep searching for it. The hunt is on. The hunt is on to answer the question, who am I? What am I? What are we hunting for? What is the play of conscious hunting for? What's the hunt? Is there anyone hunting first in the light of divine being? Can we find a hunter? A searcher. One who searches. And as we open our hearts, a dialogue really with the infinite, starting with the light and letting the light speak through us, inform every activity, and wash out the idea that there's a doer or someone being done to, or someone who can do something to something else. In the light of divine being and honesty of God, can we find that? Can that be found in the light, a doer? Does the light have a doer in there, a little doer thing? Does the light know change? Something that changes? Can we find that changing? We can see the changing with the eyes through the design to project an image. But yet, does what changes seemingly in form, does that change light? So we turn inward. This is an inward journey on the reflection of light. The reflection that there's one that's shared by all. That's what's already joined. And Jesus started talking about that yesterday. That there's minds are joined. Is there any discomfort, Jesus, or just not wanting to see? I'm willing just to look directly at any tiny twitch that I'm not already joined with everything. no thing before time began. So it's the filiation with, there goes time, like that little puff of smoke of nothingness. And then the homing mechanism on death begins, as time begins. The homing mechanism to search in form for the formless, which is impossible. Can the formless be found through form? That's what the search in thought is. It's a search for the formless in form. It's a search for love, the belief that love, infinite, unchanging. See, we're so unfamiliar with love in the play of consciousness, so unfamiliar with what love is, because love becomes a currency of exchange. It becomes a currency of cause separate from effect and concept. That love can be apart from light when they're synonymous, they're sameness. You can ask, we don't even remember what love is. Ask Jesus. That's what memory is meant to obscure. Infinite love, unchanging love. Yet we can ask in honesty of God, does one memory change infinite light? Does one thought? So now we can begin infinite, and then observe the play in consciousness to go into the hunting for something that can never be found, for salvation in thought, the death march, salvation in thought. You can ask Jesus, so is death really just trying to find salvation in thought? It's death through giving things meaning that they can't have. Does the light give meaning to anything? As I'm being reminded of that movie Oblivion. What a great title for a movie, to be oblivious through thought that the light is always here. And we were talking last night, it just came, how really there's just the search for the unsearchable. So consciousness then plays the game, I'm going to search for myself. And it's still searching form, but Jesus is like unwinding. Has to even unwind for the play of the search for enlightenment. It was like last night, enlightenment or awakening. That's still a search. As we said, it's ceased to deniement. It's perfect. It's not enlightening and enlightenment, and it's not awakening. It's ceased to deniement. Cease to deny what's already here. It's just helpful. And continually asking this great love, Jesus, who's been sent to support us, to the super consciousness, the part of the mind that remembers, the play of consciousness that remembers, and beyond. It comes from beyond that it moves through that so we can hear a voice. Because the light doesn't know what a voice is. It doesn't need a voice to keep reminding it you're light. Cease to deny. Cease to deny. That's the only message he has. You're light. You're infinite being. You're light. You're light. You are that. You are the holy instant. You are the will of God. Jesus, you can ask him. They tease me. That's, they always say, ask Jesus. Oh my gosh, what a great mantra that is. You see the value of that. Am I God's will? Do you ever hear anything other than you are God's will? Synonymous. Like, am I anything other than God's will? So it's an idea that I'm not happy. Because happiness has been infinite, unchanging light has been crunched down to a paper tiger concept. And then the little tigers fight in the mind, inside imagination. It's coming to get me. Tiger's gonna be, my head's gonna be cut up by the tiger. And in satsang, they say, I want the tiger to bite my head off. I just want to see through the error of thought. The error of the single thought, the mad idea that the Son of God can leave, that thoughts leave their source. And what a great lesson today, Jesus, lesson 20. Will you show this in its fullness and let this shine? This points to how important determination is in this. He says, yes, it's a reappropriation. See, where we determine not to see that the light's already here. He flips it. He says, look, instead of looking out there to determine to see what's not here, as he told me, you have a habit of focusing on what's not happening. We're determined to see that the light is all there is. Like, that's it. Infinite light, that's it. And settle for nothing less. Less meaning desire for something other than light. I am determined to see. It really takes that. He said, it really takes that. Because of the determination not to see. And to stuff that below the level of awareness. Anything other than supreme, I think the abhorrence actually of supreme happiness, you can ask them, Jesus, do I abhor supreme happiness? And hear the answer. Okay, will you help me with that? It's like, it doesn't seem imaginable that that supreme happiness would be abhorred. Yet there it is if you ask them. It says if you're not experiencing it 24/7, then it is. And we really have to even trust them on that because it's so far out of awareness what supreme happiness is. What peace, true peace is. You see, peace is like a sandwich between future and the past. Like here's now. Like if I can just stay now and then the future and wanting to keep the future and the past when they're all past. You can see that in the light. This is where in the light of divine being is where the course is alive within. To take everything he says so preciously and see it as the light of infinite. And then it like blooms, like until is recognition as, oh, right, there's light. And then as the denials fall away, it's like, wait, there's only light. I'm just playing here. I'm using knitting needles to try to stitch together thought into something, an object that doesn't exist, and staple myself to that. Boom. So helpful as it seems to have attack thoughts. The thoughts of attack, the desire for an experience of attack. You can ask him, Jesus, if I'm experiencing attack thoughts, am I desiring that experience? It's the only way it can be. So we have determination to see, conviction, the conviction that we have greater value in the light. than in the idea, the miscreation, that we can be apart from infinite. That play. Not we, no one's, just see, there's no one in there doing that. It's just a play of consciousness to play as many. You can ask Jesus, he'll tell you every one of these things. You can, so it lives inside, like the entire course just lives. We have been quite casual about our practice periods so far. There has been virtually no attempt to direct the time for undertaking them. Minimal effort has been required, and not even active cooperation and interests have been asked. Easing us in slowly, Jesus, aren't you? Yeah. I hear him. He's going, you needed that. Yes, I did. Even with that gentle, even in, as I said, in the play of consciousness, but it had, those had to be washed out, you know, that the belief in the devil's going to get me. The desire for the experience of the devil. That was back before I saw that it was desire, you know, that was a choice to devil, but you let all the devils come out and just see them, you know, no devil in there. There's no devil in light. You can see, does the light have a devil in there? Is it light, infinite light of being hiding a devil in there? See if there's a devil hiding in there. Because it doesn't hide anything. Light doesn't, it just is. It's always available. That's the greatest humor of it all. So I'm already what I'm searching for. Laugh. What the search has been on for what's already happened, Jesus? Yes, but it's happy. Because it's how then it's remembered when this. Then we have a reference. We reference back to who we are because we're so used to referencing to what we're not. Consciousness, not, you know, it's the play of the totality. There's no way to talk about it. But it can be noticed through the power of consciousness. The play can be noticed. The desire can be admitted. Yeah, boy, and this desire to give the light the boot, to kill the light out of awareness. So instead of killing, you say, oh, I want to kill something, say, I want to kill the light out of awareness, and you'll start seeing it. Holy smokes, I really want to kill that light. With every ounce of energy I could just put into, and just let that be seen. That's the denial. Instead of denying the denial and pretending like there's no desire to kill the light out of awareness, which is all killing is. There's no killing. See that the light can't be killed. Then you'll start to notice, I want to swat it. I want to beat it. I want to. So it's like, we're not beating ourselves. We're trying to beat the light out of awareness. Beat the tar out of it. Scourge it. Like Jesus, scourge it. Just scourge that light out of awareness. But it seems to be about scourging a body, but it's really, ask Jesus about it. Trying to crucify the light out of awareness. So that's why he's lesson 20, lesson 3 weeks in, he's going, I am determined to see, you know, it takes that kind of, and just honing in. You can see the beings in this group just honing in on that nothing. And no matter what comes up, because again, there's going to be, you know, you can see it in the play of the partners, in the groups, you know, so, you know, it's just a play. It's innocence, but it's playing. It's really helpful to pray carefully with Jesus with the partner assignments. Just really be with what's given with that so much, because he knows how to partner beings up better than anyone, because he's going to know what's most helpful, where we need to look, and really trust him in that in chapter 20, and just go for it with, I am determined to see. Go for the gusto. Carpe diem, seize the day. That's what's needed. You can ask him, Jesus, carpe diem.
You know, the brass ring, seize the brass ring. See, we're so tentative. And then we feel like we've been run over by the truck of the ego. This is not for the timid. It's for the lion that lays down with the lamb of innocence. That power, the power of infinite, to accept what it is as it is, wholly, whole, and complete, and not to be like these little side swipe detours in the display, not to get hung in the display. See how the power of the light is the light deterred from, it's not deterred, it's just, we have to relearn that because we played so weak. The consciousness is played so weak. The desire for experience to be tiny, like we talked about, tiny in the universe. I'm like a little speck and here's a big universe. Yet when you look with the light, you can keep looking at that. Jesus, in the light of divine being, am I more vast than the universe? And just hear that. It was like sing, wah. That the ego go, oh, I don't want to see that. Because then it would admit we're not small and weak. We're more infinitely powerful than any thought that can generate a universe. Jesus, am I infinitely more powerful than any thought that generates a universe? Is universe generated by thought? Here. Is that what I really don't want to see? That I made myself small to have an experience of being small, being tiny, this little speck that the universe kind of just blows around like cosmic dust. Like, yeah. Okay, but now the dialogue's open. It's open. So Jesus, will you show me where I'm trying to be a little piece of cosmic dust rather than vaster, like Moji's book, vaster than sky? Yes, and it will take your determination for that. He says, I'm asking, is there any way to get around it? No, that's why it's on number 20. And we all know it because just getting through the whole book took determination. He's reusing that play of consciousness to determine not to see that we're whole, holy, and complete, and he's just flipping it. Now just flip that determination, be determined to see what is right now. So we see that it doesn't take any effort to see it. All the effort is in the denial of it. Denial that the light's here. He says, yes. Minimal effort has been required and not even active cooperation and interest have been asked. This approach has been intentional and very carefully planned. Like we can see when it comes to Jesus, you can ask him, this is a beautiful thing. Jesus, do you carefully plan everything? Yes. And he's saying, I am carefully planning everything on your behalf. Thank you for reminding me that, because believe me, there will be times we've all had. We're just going, if this is the plan, I'm going to put that up. Any kind that comes up, like, this is the plan. Whose plan is this? You know, he's telling me, he's saying, see that I have everything cared for in this because you've called me. But you must come to me. You must ask me. You have to reach your hand out to him, as we talked about, because we're just, you know, it's like a Jesus phobia, a phobia of the light, which is merely a reflection of a phobia of the light in the mind. The allergy. The allergy to Jesus. Like, it seems like allergies, that's a good thing to talk about, because allergies seem like allergies are just a miscreation. Like, it's something that happens to me that's unknown. If you look deeply at allergies, you're going to see it's a desire. It's a phobia. It's a God phobia, actually, a fear of God. You can ask Jesus. He'll tell you about it. Is that a God phobia? Yes. So you need a phobia cure. And the phobia cure is to look with Jesus at the denial to deny divinity, the desire for an experience of a phobia against God. to deny light. Just no way to get around it. I just can't. It's either Jesus's plan or it's Jesus's plan. You can no way to get around it. And just not in peace, have peace of mind. We have not lost sight of the crucial importance of the reversal of your thinking. Oh boy, Jesus, am I willing to admit how crucial it is to reverse my thinking? When we don't admit that, it's going to hurt a lot. Yes, Jesus, it's going to hurt. Like if I don't admit how important it is to reverse my thinking, is that going to hurt? See, when it's not admitted, that's what hurts. Because we're just trying to keep it and not let it be reversed from the out picturing of the world to, oh, right, I have another way of seeing. I got to look quickly. The salvation of the world depends on it. We can ask him, Jesus, does the salvation of the world depend crucially on the reversal of my thinking? Only that. It's all just reversal of thinking. Now to the ego, that's going to sound, he's going to make it every which way but loose, sound, oh my God, death's coming. You're going to be killed. Wah, wah, we're on the Starship Enterprise. Here comes the enemy, shields up. That's how consciousness play. We really have to see that, how it's going to wah, the reversal of thinking is going to send me to hell. See, that's the reversal. That's how thinking is reversed. If I look, I'm going to die. No, we're not dying. We're determined to see what's here, that the light's come already. Yet you will not see if you regard yourself as being coerced. And if you give into resentment and opposition. Okay, here's the whole play. We can ask them. Oh, gee, those are good ones. I'm asking. Yeah, those are good. Let's look at those desires to deny right up front. Then that's going to be helpful, right? Because that's where we start fighting Jesus all day. Like they're beings that will talk to Jesus all day and fight him all day long, even though they can hear his voice clearly. Because of the enjoyment of one-upping God. Love it. You can just look at that. Jesus, do I like really talking to? So that's interesting, isn't it? I'm willing to talk to Jesus, but I'm going to duke it out with him all day. Hearing him like a bell and then still duking it out with him. Fighting him the whole way. So it's really good. So let's look at Jesus. Do I desire an experience in the spiritual awakening, quote unquote, which we're gonna call it cease to denyment. The best term ever. Because it's always reminding us, not something that we're going to. We're not going to wake to something. We're going to cease to sleep. We're going to see how we're choosing to sleep. So here's one of the plays right here. You regard yourself as being coerced. Okay, Jesus, let's clear out the coercion desire. Will you help us? Yes. So much love in that. Jesus, do I desire an experience that to see who I am feels like coercion, that I'm going to be coerced? Is there any coercion, little twitch in there somewhere that's possibly coerced? He said, that's a really very to see, is coercion relished? Yes, he said coercion that's a little ego stronghold to desire that relishing of coercion to block the light. Do I use coercion, the idea I'm going to be coerced by you to block light? Ask them. See that little trick, that play. The idea that something outside myself is going to coerce me. See, as soon as the idea, even coercion is a concept.
That has to be reversed. You can ask Jesus, does that idea of coercion need to be reversed? He says, you're powerful enough to look on this directly with me. Ask me, okay, show me about the coercion play to deny, to keep the denial alive. Is that a play in consciousness? Keep the denial alive. He goes, yep. Okay, so I'm looking, any scraps, Jesus, of any, so much love looking at that. The play of coercion, self-coercion, because it takes two for coercion. See, there's only one. See if the light's in there coercing something. Coercing something. Is it light's just here? So it doesn't know what coercion is. That's not, so it's a concept. So we do the light test on coercion, the idea of being coerced. We find that. Okay, so is that relished? Ask him, Jesus, is there any relishing of the experience of coercion? I'm gonna look close. And just go with him till he says no. Just let that fully bloom, like that relishing of something or somebody making you do something. That's a famous one. That's what childhood's about half the time. You know, my parents telling me to do something. Okay, and if you give in to resentment, so boy, that just comes up so much on this whole game. You start to see it. How many times looking at this, or when you're asked to do something by Jesus, do you feel resentment? Oh, like that is a massive play, like so resentful. What are you making me do? So let's ask him, Jesus, is there a desire in the experience for resentment of you, which is resentment of myself? Can it be, it can't be separate. So, okay, is there any relishing of resentment under there? Relishing resentment. Resentment, what you're trying to help, when you're trying to help me, do I resent you? Okay. I want them to look at that direct and ask for a miracle. Yeah, love will come. That will put you on your knees. If I'm looking directly just at that. To see that that's a play in the consciousness, it has to be reversed. He says resentment is a concept. It's a way to play dead. He said you're resenting what can't be. So Jesus, will you help me clear that from my holy mind, that any energy around that, with so much love. It's not just a denial of self-love. That's it, of totality. It's just a little denial of totality that need not be. Okay, so I'm gonna look at them in opposition, because there's so much love. Every time one of these is released, it's like, oh my gosh, so much love coming. Okay. Okay, Jesus, show me any desire below my level of awareness to relish opposing you, opposition, that desired experience. Do I relish that? Just relish it, just relish opposing you. So much light will just shine infinitely with that deep of a look. Because of that love, of that relishing those little paper tiger fights in there, through those concepts. This is our first attempt to introduce structure. Do not misconstrue it as an effort to exert force or pressure. Jesus, if there's any idea that I'm being forced or pressured, can you help me see through that? See, love doesn't know the lights. That's not in it's look in light. Is any quality in light? Do the light test on everything. Is there pressure in there? Is there force? There's encouragement. Come to me and I will give you rest. It's not saying come to me and I'm going to push you around. We're allowing ourselves to be pushed around by the ego all day long. Ask Jesus, you're allowing yourself to be pushed around by the ego all day. And doing all kinds of things you never want to do. You have no interest in doing them. No interest whatsoever. So when Jesus says, okay, you really don't even want to do that, then we do get out with them. We to keep personal identity, keep an ego, to keep suffering. Like he's just trying to tell us it's not, when he's given an assignment, he knows what's in alignment with our own will, with love, with infinite love expression. He knows that. We've forgotten it so deeply. So when he's telling us something, he's telling us, you really want that. And the ego is going to start saying, I don't want it. But that's the reversal of the thinking that has to be reversed, because we don't even know anymore. We lost that. We buried it so deep in the mind. Do not misconstrue as an effort to exert force or pressure. That's the play. See, is that a play in consciousness, to exert force or pressure or feel pressured? The only way that can occur is through the desire for the experience for it. Ask Jesus. Effort. Does Jesus pressure? No. He invites. He encourages. So is force or pressure in looking at anything with you, is that my own miscreation? You can hear him, yes. So any pressure, any experience of force is not it. You can ask him. It's an idea. You will suffer it so dearly. And the funny thing, here's the play in consciousness with that, if you just observe it. So we tell him no. And what happens is we suffer so greatly. And then we feel like he left us. He's just offering, look, you don't actually want to do that right there. Here's what you really in your heart's calling for you to do. And then we don't do what he's pointing to that's in alignment with our own will, with the will of God, the will of all the love there is. And then we don't see it's not that Jesus leaves us. It's just we feel so much guilt that we start defending it. It becomes defended. And then we suffer just greatly defending that in guilt. And it's just like a spiral into guilt, because we're not, Jesus doesn't judge us if we say no. He has no whatsoever. He sees the light judging anything. It doesn't judge anything. It just says, here's the call of your heart. It tries to deliver it on a silver platter. And then we go, oh, you're making me do something I don't want to do. That's why the trust is so important. Like to step into it, because he knows, like we have to trust that he knows, and he does. But we don't want, but sometimes consciousness needs to experience that play of the guilt. But then it's like an uphill. You see how it's like we're trying to swim out of the darkness now, because we're not expressing. We didn't follow him to express his divine being. And then it's like, it seems like I can't get out of this darkness. Why aren't you helping me, Jesus? Because we're actually in a play that we don't want to be in. We're caught in the kerfuffle. When he'd gladly reach down and help us out, but we feel so guilty for not following him, then, and we want him to help him. What we want to do is keep the old way and have him help us the way we want to be helped. Keep that old way and play. I still, you know, in demanding of him, and then in claiming he's forcing us or pressuring us. He goes, you want salvation. You want to be happy. You want peace. You do not have them now because your mind is totally undisciplined. And we have to admit that. Jesus, just ask him so you can just hear it right all the way through. Let it penetrate every layer of, you know, the denial. Is my mind totally undisciplined? See, we don't even see how undisciplined it is because we're so habituated to the mind wandering and the thought. And you cannot distinguish between joy and sorrow. Like, this seems so unfathomable. Like, when I read this first, like, distinguishing joy and sorrow, pleasure and pain, love and fear. You have no idea between the two. Jesus, do I have to admit this? He says, if you don't admit that you don't know the difference, you will be lost in the maze forever. That's the whole purpose of the idea of consciousness, is to get lost in the maze. That's why we have to say, I cannot distinguish. Do I need to admit I cannot distinguish between joy and sorrow, pleasure and pain, love and fear? That's the addiction, to not to be able, because joy becomes a concept. Peace is a concept. It's an outpicturing of a picture will give me peace. It's in sitting on the beach will give me peace. Meditating will give me peace. No, your peace itself. Your joy itself, it's you, not as a person, but infinite light is that. But consciousness is a play, so it never sees that joy is already here. Love is already, it's everything. It can't be apart from anything. This is so critical. I'm seeing that. You're now learning how to tell them apart. He has to teach us from scratch. And you can ask him, Jesus, do I have any idea what joy is? In truth, like true joy. Do I have any inkling of supreme happiness? And he'll tell you yes, no, or you're starting to. Just start there, you know, start, okay, and then reach your hand out and let him lead you to the garden of happiness, of supreme happiness. And great indeed will be your reward. See, we don't even know what the reward is for sure, because every time I know, like on the play, looking at it going, this doesn't feel very rewarding to me. And it won't, because the me is not the one who gets a reward. See, what happens is he's giving you an assignment and the me's complaining about it because the me knows it's over when you follow that assignment. Oh, we're so funny in that play. Your decision to see is all that vision requires. What you want is yours. Is the light already come, Jesus? It's already here. We already have it. Not as a possession. It's what we are. Light is us. Jesus, am I light? See, he never tells you no, but he says, but you don't believe it. You don't want to believe that you are. You don't want to know that you are. You don't want to see that you are. Do not mistake the little effort that is asking you for an indication that our goal is of little worth. Can the salvation of the world be a trivial purpose? Well, the ego is making it trivial. That's why when we're making it trivial, when we're not given, let thine eye be single. We've just made who we are trivial. You can ask them about that. It has to be, otherwise you'll be bounced around like the pinball machine of consciousness, the asteroid belt. You'll be smacked around. And then it's like the prayer comes for a better day, but there's so much under discipline, the undisciplined nature, and you just get smacked around all day and just go, why am I getting smacked around? Because you won't do the two things, which is see through the denial and then follow me. You can ask him, can I do this without following you into divine expression, to see that I can do anything you ask of me? Because I'm divine. It's the way he's showing us there's absolutely no doer, no one doing. And can the world be saved if you are not? God has one Son, and he is the resurrection and the life. You are the resurrection and the life. Infinite life. You can ask Jesus, am I the resurrection and the life? Are you willing to say that? And just see what comes up when you say, I can't say that, or however that plays, or the ego can say it too. The same one that's fighting Jesus all day. I'm the resurrection and the life. No. You just see that you're life itself, infinite life. His will is done because all power is given him in heaven and on earth. In your determination to see is vision given you. Jesus has vision given me through my determination to see. Yes. The exercises for today consist in reminding yourself throughout the day that you want to see. Today's idea also tacitly implies the recognition that you do not see now. So let's just ask them, the honesty of God, Jesus, do I see now? Do I have a desire not to see now? I'm willing to see that because I'm determined to see. I'm determined to see wherever I'm determined not to see. Okay. Now I have a starting point. He says, now I have a starting point with you. Therefore, as you repeat the idea, you're stating that you are determined to change your present state for a better one, the one you really want. Repeat today's idea slowly and positively at least twice an hour today, attempting to do so every half an hour. Now and I ask him, are we still following this exactly? Say exactly. Okay. That means as many hours as we're awake. So 8 to 10 hours, 2 times a day, 20 times. That's really not much when you think about it. Jesus says, it's not much at all. The question is, will you follow my simple instructions? Okay, Jesus. We'll start now. What time is it? Okay, 9:21. We'll start right now. I am determined to see. I am determined to see. Do not be distressed if you forget to do so. Remember, this is Ramana Maharshi's beautiful metaphor of if the cow leaves the barn, meaning if we forget, you gently lead it back and you start fresh right there. Not another minute on anything else. Jesus is saying, look, just because I can remember, I just torture myself. The torture chamber would come out, I'm going to have to hang myself on the rack for forgetting. No, because that's the ego still in play. Light is here now. Just say, is the light here now? Yes. And start with the light and just say, okay, Jesus, and ask him to help you remember. Yes, he says he will help you remember if you ask. Will you help me? I am determined to see. And I know I need your help to see. Will you help me? Will you remind me? Okay, so I'm asking, it's like Jesus. So will you remind me on the hour and the half an hour? Just be open to him. Just reminding. That's great, actually.
Okay, I'm open to it. Let's see. Jesus, will you remind me? Do not be distressed if you forget to do so, but make a real effort to remember. It's worthiness, you know, we're worth it. 20 times a day to say, I'm determined to see. I said, Jesus, we can say that extra times, right? He goes, yes. The extra repetitions should be applied to any situation, person, or event that upsets you. You can see them differently, and you will. Thank you, Jesus. This is the power of the thoughts he's giving. What you desire, you will see. Such is the real law of cause and effect as it operates in the world. Well, this is deep. Let's look at this one real close. What you desire, you'll see. Yeah, so he's even flipping desire around because desire is the play of not wanting to see. So he just turns the energy of not seeing into wanting to see what's already here. The reversal. Such is the real law of cause and effect as it operates in the world, yes. So rather than the desire to split cause and effect, have the desire to see cause and effect as simultaneous as one. The one. I'm determined to see the light has come. Thank you, Jesus. I'm determined to see the light is here. Infinite love is here. I'm determined to see this. Not with power of the world, not with forcing anything. It doesn't force. He says it's light. I'm determined to see because I have the power to see it. I'm given the power by God himself to see this, and accepting that and ceasing to deny that God has given us the power to see it right now, the holy instance here. I'm determined to see life, that I'm life itself. All that is. Life is what I am, life. Life isn't the inanimate objects that are seen that seem to move. Life's the unmoving one. I'm determined to see that I'm life itself, as given by the Father, holy, whole, and complete. This is the undoing of the world's cause and effect, to see that cause and effect are one, they're simultaneous, they're totality. I'm determined to see. Thank you, Jesus. So we're going to ask Lori if she's feeling the inspiration to sing a song. It's been so joyful having her here and to sing her beautiful words. And it looks like she is. So here she comes. Oh my goodness.
Come on down.
Come on down. Let's get her good set up. Camera lights just fall off. Just a little bit. Oh, yes, and we have Linda, bless her heart. We've got the little Jesus on there, sitting on there. Jesus on the shelf. So we got 3 Jesuses playing for you right now. Okay.
Greetings, blessed mighties. This one's called M.I. Light. silence. Rest here, my stillness. Rest here, blessed love. Am I determined to see? Is the light always here? Am I the will of God? Am I the holy instance? Am I already what I am searching for? Rest here, silence. Rest here, stillness. Am I determined to see? Is the light always here? Remember, light, look with me, look with me. Remember, love, I delight when you look with me. Vaster than sky is the light here and now. So remember, remember, light. Remember, remember, light.
Thank you, loves, for joining.